in your cold war anymore. Oh no. But I have a feeling that we never really.
G'day folks, how we going? Yeah! Okay. Thank you. Seriously. Well, if people had gave me a clap like that every time, I would be really grateful. But you know what? As things go, such is life. Well, we're here today, and we're just waiting on our guest Arthur to pop on in. I know he will be in shortly, but the good news is it's Hump Day. What can I say? And first in the chat on Hump Day is Rob from the Cruising on the High Seas, which is awesome. Welcome aboard, buddy. Rob, just to let you know, you have won the 575 trillion points on the Fair Star, which is really not worth the money it's made out for, because the Fair Star ship is no longer sailing anymore. So there you go. But having said that, mate, congratulations anyway. Next on board, we've got Jimmy from the Astute Tourist. Welcome aboard, Jimmy. Nice to have you there, mate. We've got Cruise Nuts there. G'day, Cruise Nuts. G'day, everyone. Can't stay, just hopping in to say hello. Well, thank you very much for coming in and saying hi there. Really appreciate it. Any help is good help. So there we go. Welcome aboard. So, folks, the chat in the chat today, we're looking forward to Rob coming on board. He is in Adelaide, and Adelaide is a little bit slower than Melbourne, but I'm not going to hold that against him. He is a nice guy, and he did actually go on the same cruise ship that we went on, which was the Grand Princess, and we're gonna be chewing the fat about it a little later on, so that'll be awesome. We've got in the chat there, g'day Busby, welcome aboard, buddy. Nice to have you on board. Bit of banter going in between there, guys, saying g'day to each other, so that's awesome. What can I say? You know, it was an amazing cruise. It was good fun, and we're going to have a chat between Arthur and I. A couple of celebrations going on this week. Was my birthday on Friday, last week Friday. Ilana's birthday is coming up in 2 weeks, so that's going to be awesome. So a little bit of fun there, a few celebrations, plus our wedding anniversary coming through. Eric, congratulations, mate. Well done. Very proud of you. Keep it up, Sir Eric. Maybe you can help me get to that point. That would be absolutely amazing. So there we go. So, okay, so now we've got this Adelaide person. We're still waiting on the Adelaide person to come on in, and eventually he will actually come in if he behaves himself. It's about you know, what can I say? You need to treat these Adelaideans with certain type of attitude. I don't know. You know, they think they are the city of churches, which they actually are, the city of churches. But there we go. All right, let me see who is there. Oh, somebody's there. Who is there? Welcome aboard. Let me see. Oh, it's Arthur. G'day, buddy. How you doing?
G'day, Sean. How are you? Not too bad, mate. How's things?
Oh, that's good. Sorry to say all those nasty things about you Adelaide people. You know, the fact that you come from the city of churches.
No, that's all right, mate. We got the gather around for another 3 years, mate. So, you know, more than welcome to come around and watch all your Victorian teams lose to good old South Australian teams.
There we go. There we go. We're talking about that dumb game again. We should be talking about a decent game, you know, rugby.
Rugby?
Yeah,
rugby. the only game in the world that you have to play, you have to throw the ball backwards in order to go forward.
That's correct. That's correct. But you know what the good news is? We actually do drop kicks.
Yes, yes. But you know the world game's the best game.
Soccer, yep, you're right. It is the best
Yes.
game. It is the best game. Um, we've got a few people in there in the chat very quickly. Busby is saying, Sean, I missed you and Ilana, mate. Well, you can watch us on the replay. Eric is saying g'day to Jimmy and Busby. Well, that's cool. And then we've got some people saying g'day to each other, which is awesome. And then you've got Eric from Traveling with Eric B saying g'day to you, so that's awesome.
G'day, Eric.
Again, one from Jimmy as well, and a couple of people saying g'day to each other. So there we go. Now, Arthur, you guys went in and did your cruise. What was it? January you did your cruise.
Yes, January. January 5th to the 24th.
And it was great because we met up on the Monday, right? Was it the Monday?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Yeah, it was a bit weird. We thought with Princess that what we booked was a 19-night cruise from Adelaide to New Zealand back to Adelaide, stopping at these places.
Yep.
But when we got on, it was like we were halfway through another cruise.
Yep.
And it was a bit odd knowing that you're halfway through a cruise. So you felt like yours were behind for some strange reason.
Yep.
And, you know, you kind of got a little bit of, like, you weren't welcomed on board. And then when we got onto Melbourne, yeah, it was like, you know, they seemed, I mean, there was about nearly 1,000 South Australians coming on board. So, you know, I don't know, it was a weird feeling, you know, coming halfway through someone else's cruise.
Yep.
You know, like you're thinking you're starting your own, but you're not. You're halfway through someone else's cruise, so that was a little bit odd to experience.
Hey, I just got to bring this up a second, Arthur. Jimmy is making a very valid point there. He says, did we hear that there's a group cruise sailing out of Sydney, January the 2nd, 2025? Have you heard that? Have you heard that rumor?
Yes, I've heard that. I've heard that rumor too. Yes.
I believe they're talking about
on Celebrity X, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. The Celebrity Edge. That's right. Well, and I believe it's an awesome cruise ship. I don't know very much about it, but
yes, it is.
You know, is it?
Yeah.
Well,
ask the cruise boys. They know all about it. They've been on it.
Well, I should actually get on to the cruise boys and ask the question. I mean, but then again, are you going to be joining us on that cruise?
Wait and see, mate. Wait and see. Maybe not. We're not 100% sure what we're doing for 2025, and yeah.
Well, we believe it's going to be a great deal of fun because what we're planning to do is get everybody into Sydney for New Year's Eve, watch the fireworks, and then 2 days later sail out of there into the South Pacific, which is going to be absolutely a ball.
Yep. Yes, it will be.
Busby is saying that the doorbell still works in the HH4C channel, mate. Thanks very much. I'm really glad that it works. It's better than doing this one. Yeah, that's right. I think so too.
Sure.
Much better. Well, sorry, I just couldn't hold it. It was just one of those days. You know, when we did our cruise, the ship came back into Melbourne, and there were some people that were hanging around because they were going to be doing the back-to-back all the way up to Seattle. And when we came on, there were a bucket load of people on board that they actually, to some extent, did make us feel that way. But the good news was I managed to get in touch with a number of the crew. And in talking with those crew members, I was having a ball because I was actually speaking in their language. Like there were South
Yep.
Africans. There were a couple there. I was speaking in
Yeah,
Afrikaans,
yeah. There were lots of South Africans on board. Yeah.
and I was also speaking Zulu to a couple and Sutu to a few others. So it was really quite exciting watching their faces from a white Aussie speaking their
Mm.
language. It was great. It was awesome. So
Yeah.
that really
I can
threw,
imagine.
made things fun. And also, I had my parents on board, and it was their first cruise.
Yeah.
For a first cruise for them, it was a great taster.
That's good. I'm glad they enjoyed it. I mean, I really enjoyed the time that we had together. That was really good. Thank you for showing me around Melbourne. Yeah, I've been Melbourne many a times, but seeing it from your point of view, it was really good.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was just
I had
great,
a ball.
and it's up on YouTube. So if anyone sees it, head over to my channel and you can see what Melbourne is like, and your mug as well.
Oh, my mug. Oh, my ugly mug. It was great meeting your family too. It's interesting. It's one
Yes,
thing
yes.
when you actually see the person on the YouTube and then you actually
Mm.
meet them face to face, you actually realize they're real life
Yes.
people.
Yeah, yeah. It was that was quite an adventure for them as well, because when they got dropped off at Eureka Tower, and
Yeah,
they got told to go the opposite direction to the way that they wanted to. So for
yeah,
them, they were like, they went 20 minutes the opposite direction, going, "Hang on, this is not the right way," and then they had to like walk, double the amount just to get to where they wanted to go, which was another thing that we didn't like about Princess. The way that they communicated things was very, how can I say, very contradictory to what was actually done. So they'll tell you one thing, then when you get on shore, totally different. And whatever plans that you might have had set up, you had to quickly change in order to accommodate to the changes.
I believe the Grand
And it
Princess is
quite
having
often
some
was
issues right now.
really.
Yeah, I believe they're out. They're around about Tahiti at the moment, and apparently they had some smoke coming out of the cabins from the deck 7 upwards. So
Oh wow.
they've got the Majestic
Yeah,
following
we
them
were on.
apparently. So
Jesus.
so we'll see what
We heard on the ship that they were gonna scrap the ship. The crew members were telling us that they were scrapping her. She was being sold off, and a new one's being built,
well, they're doing.
and they're not worrying about.
Apparently that ship is being sailed to Seattle, and then it's doing an Alaska trip. Apparently, that's what I hear.
Yeah,
But if they are
I
going to,
think after. Go on, you.
but I
say.
think if they do head out to Seattle and then from then on go ahead and scrap it, it will have done its time. I
Well,
think.
definitely, the ship should. From our point of view, the ship had done its time. You could tell. There were certain things that you saw that weren't up to standard in compared to ships. But then again, there are cruise ships out there, and even cruise lines out there now that are running far more worse ships
Yeah,
than the Grand Princess.
yeah,
You know, we we thought this is our first time sailing with Princess, so the people that I've spoken to, especially from overseas, UK and US, it seems to be a different product to what they give in Australia,
yeah.
and we got the feeling throughout the whole cruise that this was just like Princess was just giving us the same old crap basically, and a
Yeah.
lot of people weren't taking it. They were like, this is not good enough even for Princess standards.
Give it a second there.
And it
Just give me a second
Oh.
there, Arthur. G'day,
Yeah.
Scotty. Welcome aboard. I'm glad you like the show. We are chewing the fat on Hump Day. We've got Suzanne A. Welcome aboard, Suzanne A. Nice to have you here. Great to say hello. Cruisers and pink waving hand, pink waving. Awesome. Love these pink hands. And love from Australia. Awesome. Yep. Thank you, Suzanne. Whereabouts in Australia are you? We are based in Melbourne, and Arthur is based in Adelaide. So, looking forward to find out where you're based in. I think you might be based somewhere near Sydney or Brizzy or somewhere around there. Anyway, um, what I tend to find, and I don't know if you agree with me, Arthur, is that whenever we get ships on board, they're always the second-rate ones, the ones that they're about to chuck out.
Yeah, especially here in here in Australia, it doesn't seem to be, and I won't don't take this the wrong way, but it doesn't seem like the high end. Well, I shouldn't say the high end cruise lines, but like Royal Caribbean, for example, they bring down the two most newest ships. Quantum and Ovation of the Seas, and they had a Radiance class ship. I think it was a Serenade of the Seas as well. This cruise season,
Yep.
and it seems to be like because Australia was so late restarting with its cruise season, they just brought down ships that were spare or weren't up to standard for international
Well,
market, so they pushed them
we had the
down to
Carnival Luminosa. The Carnival
yeah,
Luminosa, which was the old
yeah,
Costa Luminosa. That sort of
yeah.
like it was a sudden bring down, and then we had then we also had the Splendor was here, the Carnival Splendor. I don't know about you, but I seem to feel like it is the Carnival brand, not the Carnival brand, but the Carnival corporate ships that come down that are the second-rate ones. For a country that
Yes,
is
yeah,
the second largest cruising community in the world, I find that
definitely,
quite
yeah,
interesting,
yeah.
interesting setup.
I mean, you just take a look at like Royal Caribbean, for example. The Quantum class ships. They hold 5,500 people. So if there's two of them there, that's 10,000 people
Yep,
at any given time. 11,000 people any given time sailing
yep.
in Australian waters. So there's a lot of people travelling, and we found, having experienced other cruises, that the Princess Cruise Line seemed to be, it was below what we thought a cruise line should be.
Yep.
Princess prides themselves on so many wonderful things, and they didn't deliver it in our um, aspect of it all, and
I
that
will
reflected
say,
in a lot of things from
I will say that compared
school.
to when we were on the Carnival Horizon versus the Grand Princess, the food on the Grand Princess was a damn sight better. There was a lot more
Oh, don't
colour.
get me wrong. There were certain parts, the main dining room,
Mm,
for the majority part of it, it was fantastic. We
mm,
didn't like the buffet at all.
mm,
We affectionately called it the pig pen,
mm,
because the food was like slops basically. We didn't like it at all. Half the time we were getting something from the International Cafe, for example.
mm.
We tried once the breakfast in the morning, like room service,
Yep.
and it was atrocious. It was disgusting. The food, like it was really bad. We didn't even finish. We took like one or two bites out of the muffins, which
Mm,
tasted horrible, and we just left it there. Like,
mm.
we couldn't eat it. Like, it was that bad that particular day, and it was pretty bad.
Jimmy's
What we did enjoy
asking,
was the main dining room.
yep. Jimmy's asking a question there. I don't know if you can see it at the bottom there. What's your favourite thing to do while on board a cruise ship?
Just relax and enjoy myself, and uh, yeah, just watch the world go by.
Yeah, for me, it's sitting on the balcony, having an ale of some sort, and watching the ocean go by, and maybe even a little bit of land
Yeah,
coming in. Yeah, that's what I
yeah,
like. Yep. Um,
yeah. I just
we
like to sit
found
back and relax and enjoy it.
we found that with us, we would have breakfasts in the buffet, but and maybe some lunch every now and then. But mostly dinners was in either in the MDR or on one of the paid restaurants. And we always make it a tradition that one night we go to a paid restaurant, and the favourite one for us is the steak
Yes,
restaurant.
Crown
So,
Grill. Yeah, we went Crown Grill. Crown Grill. We went on my name day, me being Greek.
yep,
We went there for dinner, and it was probably one of the best steaks I've had at sea. It was really
hands
good. It
down.
was I paid $40 for surf and turf,
Yep,
Australian dollars, um, and it was a Kansas steak, but we call it T-bone steak,
yep,
and it was massive. It
yeah.
was
They call it the
like that. Like
porterhouse.
it was huge. You cut. Sorry.
They call it the porterhouse. Porterhouse is the T-bone.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. It was so massive. It was over the plate. Like it was a big steak, and I couldn't finish dessert like at all. Like they brought it, I had a little bit of it. And that's it. It was delicious. That was one of our favourite meals, along with
So,
the chef's table. I did chef's table there
how did you find
on
that?
Grand Princess. You know what? That was a beautiful meal. I paid $130, including the wine.
Yep,
Um, uh, and it was a 7 course meal, and it was delicious. It was like what I would expect out of like a Michelin star restaurant. It was
yep.
that good, the food. Again, I've got it up on my channel. You can see it, and yeah, that was one of the best meals I've had, especially the wines. I'm not a big wine person. I don't like drinking a lot of wines myself personally, but the wines that they paired with it was actually really good, to the point where I actually asked the next night because I saw uh, the sommelier who was
Yep.
there. He was our section supervisor in the MDR. And I
Yep.
saw him and I said, thanks very much for everything. I said, look, do you mind if I have a glass of that red wine that was served at the chef's table? And he goes, let me have a look. And he comes back and he goes, look, unfortunately, we don't have it on stock. However, if you want the bottle, we can give it to you. And I'm like, I thought you said it was not on stock. He goes, this bottle was only reserved for the chef's table, and that's it. We only have a certain amount on board, but if you want one, we can sell it to you. So, I went and bought myself a bottle of wine. I think it was 55 Australian dollars for it. It came from Spain.
Wow.
And it was a beautiful red wine, nice bold flavours to it, and it was really
Yep.
good. Yeah, but the way that the wines were perfectly matched with everything, and it
Yep.
was really good. So,
The Spaniards sure know how to make a nice drop.
oh, definitely, yeah. It came from the Catalina region, which I've seen some wine shows and stuff like that all about it. So I was quite impressed with it as well. So
Mm.
yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed that side of it.
Mm.
Our MDR people who we were in Botticelli's dining room,
Yep.
um, and our two the waiter and the server, Javier and Rennie,
Yep.
um, they were fantastic. Like anything we wanted, they got for us. Or after the second night, they started to know what we wanted. So like he would bring out extras as well, which was really handy. And I like to try different foods. So
Yep.
I don't go like, oh, I have a main entree and main dessert. I'll be
Yep.
like, oh, I want to try those two entrees and those two mains and that dessert, and have this. And he'll go, I recommend this and that. You know what I'll do? I'll bring this main out so all of you can try it, which was really
Awesome.
good. The service in Botticelli was fantastic. The main dining, also the service in um, Crown Grill. That was
Yep.
really, really good. We really enjoyed that side of the service as well. That was fantastic. And also, hidden little, I don't know if you got to do it, but up on, what was it, deck 14 or 15,
Mm.
the Salty Pig, the
Yes.
Salty Dog, sorry, the Salty Dog,
Salty dog. Yep.
and the pizza place next to it.
Yep.
Great. That was fantastic. You know, quite often we'll have that for lunch rather than the buffet. It
Yep.
was actually really good. The burgers were really good there, and the pizzas were fantastic.
So
Yeah. And did you?
we were only there for 3 days. So what
Mm.
we did was with the exception of the first night, we ate in the MDR for dinner, and we would be, because we were on anytime dining, and we'd ring in and book for that evening. We were sent to the different restaurants, so we were given an opportunity to choose. And we didn't. The ice cream was my
Oh yeah,
favourite. Yep.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah, my
it shouldn't have
father-in-law's
been.
was the favourite one too. Yeah.
It shouldn't have been, but it was great. But we didn't actually. When we were getting off the ship, I thought I would have loved to have gone and got a hamburger from the Salty Dog, but we didn't actually think of it. To be honest, we were just so enthralled with keeping everything going, keeping my mum and dad happy, because they were in their mid to late 80s. So
Yeah.
it was exciting. Good fun. My sister brought a friend of hers on board as well, so that was also exciting. 6 of us having a great time.
Nice.
It
Yeah.
was
It
just
was,
good.
that was like us as well. You know, we had, it was roughly about, yeah, 7 of us, seven of us, and quite often that's what we'll do. Like, you know, we would all meet up on at uh, is it Calypso Cove or whatever it is,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
covered pool area.
yep, yep.
We'll meet near there because we didn't want to be out in the main pool area because it was exposed to the elements. We wanted somewhere where we were sheltered but not too exposed as well. So that was the perfect spot, that one there, where we were. Quite often we meet there and, you know, sit around, have coffees. It was great using the app
Oh
to
yeah,
order stuff. However, the app is not the best app to use. Very unhelpful at times.
yeah,
The only good thing about it was the location finder.
yep,
If you wanted to find someone, that was really good.
yep.
And ordering. That was basically it. The rest of it was useless.
So when we were on board, our cabins were down on the plaza deck,
Hmm.
and you know where the art gallery section is,
Yeah, yeah. And deck 5
right
there.
next to the International Cafe. So our cabins were right behind there, which was really quite awesome
Oh, nice.
because it was relatively quiet, but we could get the family out to meet in the plaza right next to the International
Hmm.
Cafe. You could have your
Yeah.
coffee, whatever, and it was just great. It was just a good spot. Did you get the Wi-Fi?
Package.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, we did, and then we didn't. We got it for one day, and my wife took a screenshot of it to see, you know, when it's supposed to run out,
Yep.
and straight away, it was down 2 hours. We're
Oh
like,
wow.
is there something wrong here? Like, you know, it must be, you know, a glitch in the system or something like that. We'll check it in the morning. Check it in the morning, you know, 8 hours time, and it was down to like $1, an hour and 42 minutes.
How
I
could
looked
that
at
be?
my
You
phone
got
and it
24
had
hours on it.
2 hours and yeah, my phone had 2 hours and 24 minutes on it. Then we go to guest services and inquire about it. Their system had a totally different time as well, and was even less. And we were like, how can this happen? Like, and we were saying to them, do you understand how people get frustrated when they purchase something and you deliver something different? And I basically said to them, that's fraud. We have paid for you to give us something and you haven't delivered. That's fraud
Yep.
under the legal definition. And they were like, oh, well, we're really sorry all about this. I'll give it on to our manager. Like, nothing happened. Like, the manager never rang us or spoke to us, or even a note under the door saying, complimentary Wi-Fi for 24 hours. Sorry for your stuff up. I mean, that was the general attitude that we faced on the cruise, from the service side of things. What we found was a major pain was the medallion system.
Yep.
It was great to unlock your door, but anything else, you got picked up by their scanners constantly, and it's one example was my 11-year-old daughter got charged for an alcoholic drink.
Now, hang on. Didn't you know that Brookie is a silent alcoholic?
No, I didn't know that, but
Neither did I, but I thought I'd spread a rumor.
and I found out on the cruise. No, it was a bit. We were like, hang on, how does she get charged? First of all, she's minor,
Yep.
right? Second of
Yep.
all, don't you have systems in place to not allow minors to buy alcohol? And it took us about 2 days for them to reverse the charges.
And
And
from being on an
the best
American ship as well, to them a minor is anybody under the age of 21.
Yes, exactly. And for us, what we figured out what it was is that her and her grandmother went walking around the ship, and they were exploring the upper decks,
Yep.
and they must have walked past one of the bars, and the person who was serving, yeah, that's the person. I'll charge it to their account.
Oh wow.
Without double checking. And we were
Yeah.
finding that quite often. They would overcharge us for items. I brought a cocktail and they charged me 3 times for it, for one cocktail.
3 times.
And it took, like every day we had to go back to guest services and say, hey, look, this is not us. And it wasn't just happening to us, it was happening to a lot of people. When I was at guest services for one of these transactions, there was a person there basically telling them, why am I getting charged a delivery fee for getting something that was... what happened was she got a drink from a bar and they charged her a delivery fee, even though she was sitting at the bar. Because she had a picture. She was showing them, oh, look, this is me at the bar having this cocktail. How do I get a delivery fee? And every single transaction, they were charging her a delivery fee.
Right, that's an interesting
And Princess
one.
were like, oh, it's just an error. Oops. So this person had to pay every time, and I think they were like quite ropeable. A lot of people were quite ropeable. It seemed to us for our cruise, once our South Australian league was quite well, once it left Melbourne, it took a couple of days for them to really iron out their stuff. And
Yeah.
then once it got to New Zealand, we experienced a different set of problems, which made a lot of people very irate very, very, very quickly.
Just very quickly, just to throw a spanner in the works for a second. G'day. Adelaide woke you up so you thought you would say hi. I didn't know you guys were that noisy in Adelaide, Arthur. Oh no, sorry, that's Amy.
Oh, it can be.
Amy has her dog, Adelaide. It's a beautiful dog. Still a pup. Picked a good name for it.
Yes, beautiful.
What did you like about the Grand Princess?
It was a very smooth ship to ride on. That's one thing that we liked about it. We had, um, for most of the cruise, we actually had really good weather, except for probably about a day and a half when we were heading to. It was the second sea day, heading to Milford Sound, and the captain did say it would be about 2 meters swell with 40 knot winds,
Yeah.
and then during the night we could feel it was right. Really, it wasn't 2 meter waves. Then the next day, the captain told the ship that we had 100 knot winds, no, 60 knot winds, which is
Wow.
about 110 kilometers,
Yeah.
and 4.5 meter swell.
Wow.
So it was pretty rough for a day or so.
Did you actually make
But
it
other
into
than
Milford
that,
Sound?
yes, we did, and that's coming up in one of my vlogs. Yes, we did. It was actually this. I felt very lucky about her that this is the second time we've gone to Milford Sound that it's not covered in cloud, rain. We couldn't get into it. It's the second time we visited and the second time we've gone in where it was sunny, clear weather, a little bit of wind around, but it was really good. It was awesome
Well, that's
heading into
interesting.
the sounds. It was
We
beautiful.
we were we when we did our New Zealand trip, 2016, I think it was. Um, we were lucky. We were fortunate. We got into Milford Sound, and we were escorted by a pod of dolphins, which was really
Oh,
amazing.
nice. We didn't
Um,
have it this time around. I thought we would have had that. First time we did, we had dolphins following us, but we didn't have it this time around, which was a bit odd. But I was able to get a picture of the pilot coming into Milford, or coming to the ship for Milford Sound, and it was a little bit choppy before it came into Milford Sound, and you see the boat just
that's awesome.
popping along. I'm like, Jesus, this guy's gonna have fun trying to get on board.
Yeah. I take my hat off to those pilots, especially with the chop that
Mm,
the ship gives them. They climb on board, they get off the ship as well, and it's just like,
yeah,
holy moly, how do you do
yeah,
it without actually falling in?
yeah. Yeah, I know. That's what I was just like. Oh my god, this guy's so brave to get on board. Yeah. But that was really good. Milford Sound was fantastic to see that. I mean, you're on this ship and you think, this ship is pretty big, and
Yeah,
then when you get into the fjords, you're tiny.
yeah.
Like these mountains tower over everything.
And also what's
Yeah.
what's amazing is when you go into a place like Miami and you see some of the other ships that are there, and those ships are just like, well, we were on the Carnival Horizon. It was a huge ship. But then you had a look at some of the others there that the Horizon towered over them. So that's kind of like unbelievable. Um,
Hmm.
I just wanted to say Nick is due to come into Australia next year. In fact, Nick is going to be doing the GAN from Adelaide to Darwin, and then he's also going to be doing the Indian Pacific as well. He's a
Oh,
trained member,
nice.
so
Oh, nice.
that'll be nice. We've got
Just be prepared for nothing for 24 hours.
say say
My,
again.
my in-laws, my in-laws have done the Indian Pacific,
Yep.
and there are parts of the trip where it's like, oh look at that bush. Oh, didn't I see that bush like a kilometer away
Yep.
back? Like it's the same scenery for a day and a bit. Like literally, it's the same scenery, especially when crossing over the Nullarbor. It's just the same. Like there's nothing, literally nothing.
CME traveling. Hello, hope everyone. Hellos, and hope everyone are doing well at the Down Under Cruises, all the way from Southern Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains. Well,
Nice.
g'day, CME, Kurt, and yeah, I'll get that right eventually. Uh, Marsha, the key thing here is you are talking to Melbourne, Australia, and Adelaide, Australia, Welcome aboard. Nice to have you here.
Welcome.
Nick is saying that he is 407 days till the three Australia trains, the Overland, the GAN, and the Indian Pacific.
Yeah. Nice.
He's a bit
Wonder
of a train nut,
what.
is our Nick.
Yeah. Just wondering if he's got what not what package, but what is he doing? Gold or standard, or if you could answer that. I mean, yeah.
Um, he says the Indian Pacific
Yes,
goes
it's
on the
true.
longest straight piece of railroad in the world.
Yeah, it's
Well,
about like 117 kilometers or something like that.
yeah. Well, considering that Australia is as wide, if not wider, than the U.S., and we don't have as many mountains in the
Yeah.
world, in the way
Oh,
he's
good
doing
stuff.
the gold. He
Gold, yeah.
says,
Yep. Yep. He'll enjoy it. Yeah. It's kind of like
um,
Spirit of Tasmania. You don't do the you get a cabin for the Spirit of Tasmania. You don't
"Yeah,
do
I
the
was just going to
recliners.
say, I haven't seen any tunnels going to Tassie yet."
No, no, it's too deep.
It is too
It'd be
deep.
too deep to go for. It is
It
too
is
deep.
too
As
deep.
soon as you get out of, you know, uh, Port Phillip Bay, there, then, it drops.
Yep. I found out something interesting that actually the area in Port Phillip Bay is actually a floodplain. It
Yes.
hap- it flooded millions of years ago, and that brought in the area and made the harbour in Melbourne. So that was the interesting bit.
Yes. Yeah.
Excuse me. Um,
Yeah. New Zealand, I've got to say, New Zealand, fantastic.
it's beautiful, isn't
For
it?
anyone who hasn't been there, it's beautiful. It's really, really, really beautiful. I prefer the South Island over the North Island.
Agreed.
Um, the South Island, there's so much to see and do
Mm,
that it's worth it. The North Island, yeah, you're better off probably, staying on board. Or if you're going to do it, just limit your time. Um, we found, just to give you a bit of rundown what we did, like after Milford Sound, we went to Dunedin.
yep.
Um, uh, and again, this is where Princess, what they say and do is totally different. Before we went to Dunedin, they had like enrichment talks and like what to expect, uh,
Mm,
and it's a whole thing to like buy tickets to their shore excursions type thing. And being there before, my whole idea was I was going to go to the Dunedin railway station there and the museum next door
hmm
and the Octagon. That was,
hmm
been there before. I know what to look for. I know where to go. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's what I wanted to do. So they're talking about what to do in this and that, and they're saying, get these tickets for this and that and this, and then they go, and the lady goes, oh, by the way, Dunedin railway station is closed for renovations, but you're selling tickets to it. So what was the point of selling the tickets if it's closed? Like, and then a lot of people got when that was told, half of the Princess Theatre got up and left.
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah.
were outraged that they were selling tickets to a place that was closed.
Yeah.
Like that. It's like you buy tickets to Disneyland and you rock up and it's closed for maintenance for that day. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like it's not. People got really, really, really peeved off of that. But anyway, Dunedin was fantastic. The
It is
railway
a beautiful.
station, it's a Victorian era building. Yes,
Yep.
they are doing renovations, and this is what Princess did attend it. They said it was closed for renovation, but it wasn't. The interior was still open,
Mm,
and the actual railway section, which they used to do into the gorge, was open.
mm. Was
So
it?
I was able to go in there and do take some photos and have a look around. But it was a secret little mission for me as well because when I was there before, there was a painting of a lady who is very similar to a lady that I work with. and she's from
Yes.
New Zealand. She's got roots, family roots in Dunedin,
Yes.
and I thought it was a relative of hers, and so I've got a bit of info about this particular person that was painted. It was a self-portrait of this artist,
Yep.
and managed to give this information back to her, and she's like, um, my family knows of her. And I'm like, but she looks exactly like you. So it was quite, quite
Great.
interesting to find information like that. The Otago Museum there, fantastic.
Yep.
That's worth the visit. It's for free. Um, Beautiful place in there. Great history in that museum of Dunedin itself. So it was a really good museum, which we really liked.
Yep.
Um, in the Octagon area, it's got a lot of shops and cafes and stuff like that. So that was great to, once we've done our, exploring, went there and had a coffee and get something to eat and headed back to the ship,
Just
which was
very
pretty good.
quickly, Nick is saying he's flying from Sydney to Germany afterwards to meet up with Darian in June of 24 for his return, and flying around the world in one trip. Got to get some spaghetti ice. Can you not use that word? Because if you use spaghetti ice, I know Darian's going to be here in 3 seconds. We've got Paul Wine. Sir Paul, welcome aboard. Please drive carefully. Glad you're driving and listening simultaneously. So awesome. And Nick is saying that he is considering spending a few days in Tokyo before coming down under because he can fly directly from Minneapolis to Tokyo. To be
Yep,
determined.
I would.
Um, yeah, I would suggest you can get a flight that goes direct from Minneapolis. I know you can't get one that goes direct from Minneapolis to Sydney. Would be nice
And I'll
though.
probably have to go to Dallas,
Dallas
Dallas
or
Fort Worth.
yeah, Dallas
Um,
or San Fran or LAX.
yep, LAX. Yep, they can get a direct flight. 19 hours.
Yeah, been on it. Tampa. We did it via Air New Zealand. Tampa to
Yep,
Houston, Houston to Auckland, Auckland to Melbourne. 19
yeah,
hours.
yeah.
It took me 3 weeks to recover.
I can imagine, mate.
Mate, going
Something
the
like
other way
that.
was easy.
Jesus. Yeah, it's the way back. It kills you.
Yeah,
It is because when you go over there, you don't lose a day. You actually
correct,
land on the day that you left, and
correct.
then when you come back, you gain a day plus some.
Yeah,
Like it's like virtually you're losing 2 days.
correct. We've got Moonlight Adventures on board. G'day, Josh. Welcome aboard. Nice to have you here. And we've got Nick saying he would love to go to LA to fly to Sydney with Delta Airlines. Oh, he would have to go to LA to fly to.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Because Delta do flying to Sydney as well as United.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
um, for those that have just popped in, Josh and Paul and the like, we've got Arthur here from Arthur's Cruises. Arthur lives in Adelaide. We obviously live in Melbourne. Arthur and I are talking about our cruises on the Grand Princess. Now, I want to fill you in on some info here, Arthur. The Grand Princess was the last ship to leave Melbourne until the next one to come in does not come in until the 3rd of November. So the season is closed for
Mhm.
Melbourne shipping. The first ship to
Yep.
come into Melbourne on the 3rd of November will be the Disney Wonder.
Oh, have you seen the prices for that?
Nope.
You don't want to book it. It's ridiculous.
Well, Disney
What they're
essentially are
charging
more
is,
expensive.
yes, I know, but what they're charging here in Australia is triple what they charge in the US. It is shocking. I
Yeah,
can't
because
believe that they're actually getting away with it,
you know what they're doing?
and people
They're
are booking it.
charging Yeah, what they're doing is they're charging US dollars converted to Aussie,
Mm. Yeah,
and that's
and
really
it's still, even when they do it, it's sometimes it's up to four times the amount they would charge, even
yeah,
in US dollars converted.
yeah,
Kerry's on this Disney Facebook group, like for Aussies who want to go over to Disneyland and stuff. And there was a bit of talk about this, and this one particular family, they booked a 3 night cruise from Sydney to Sydney, stopping nowhere. So it's a trip nowhere
yeah,
for the four of them, on lowest category interior cabin,
yep.
$16,000 Australian
How many days?
for all four of them for 3 days.
3 days,
That's what they're
16 grand.
charging. 16 grand, yeah. And
Whoa.
then I thought, oh no, this can't be right. This can't be right. Then I looked into it, and she's actually kind of right, because when we looked at her, it was 8 grand just for me and Kerry, for two people.
Jeez.
And we were like, no, per person. That's per person. That was 8 grand per person.
That's huge.
We're like, no way. I cannot justify spending
No.
$8,000 on a Disney cruise. It would be cheaper for us to fly to the US, get on a Disney cruise, spend longer time, and
Yep.
come back.
Yeah.
With that amount of money.
That's crazy.
Like,
That's crazy.
yeah,
Nick was saying a cousin of his said he should visit Japan because he's about 6 foot 8 inches tall, about 200 centimeters. That's huge. You need a
yeah,
A couple of people saying good day to each other. The reason why I'm bringing it up is we are broadcasting out on 4 channels. We've got the Down Under Cruises, Helping Hands for Cruising, and then 2 Facebook channels, so Facebook pages. So that's why I am putting up every message that comes up. Nick is saying that the Japanese have some really fast trains. Yes, they do.
yes, they do.
They do. Um, Another ship that's going to be coming in the 5th of November. Sorry, it's another ship that's coming in is the Pacific Encounter. The Pacific Encounter is the old
Gold Princess.
Island Princess, and then the Pacific Adventurer, which is the old Golden
Adventure.
Princess. That's coming.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell you a little interesting fact about Golden Princess and Grand Princess. Grand Princess had the shopping trolley at the back.
Yes.
Skywalker Lounge, but because it was made out of aluminium, not steel, it was subject to vibrations. So in one of the dry docks, they cut her off
Oh, I didn't know that it had
and redid the back of it.
I didn't know it had the shopping trolleys on
It
the
did
back.
have it when it was first built. It had her on there, but they quickly found out that it was causing so much vibration at the back of the ship, due to what it was made out of, that the next dry dock, which was less than a year away, they chopped it off. It was an interesting little fact the captain told us. It was quite a thing. But I've got to say, for New Zealand, just finish up with all of that. Christchurch, that was fantastic. That was beautiful city. I really enjoyed that city. It was devastated by that earthquake, but there's lots of places where they are rebuilding. So there's a lot of modern, new architectural buildings in there. So it was really fantastic. Mural city, left, right, and centre. There was everywhere I walked. There was murals. I was taking photos of that. But there's lots of empty plots around the place, which they've deemed red zone. So they can't build on. But it's funny, like you're walking along, you see this new building, then there's a couple empty blocks, and then there's another new building. So that was a bit, okay. They can't build here, but they could build 20 meters down the road.
I wonder
so that was
what
good. Christchurch, fantastic.
I wonder what they would do to the owners that had those blocks, if they were suddenly deemed that they were not viable anymore. You know, what if, do
Surely
those
they would have
owners
been
get any
compensated.
compensation?
Surely they would have had to. I mean, that's not, you know. I know
Jimmy,
it's freak of nature's type stuff.
yeah, Jimmy, mate, have a safe day. I know a song that you'd be singing right now. Because you want to cruise, it's off to work I go. So, um, have a safe day at work, and we hope that you make $1 billion. You win the lottery, and you make it down to the January 2nd, 2025 cruise out of Sydney. Come on down. Um, Christchurch. I went there, would have been close to 40 years ago, so it would have been very different from the time I was there. I was just having a look very quickly on the Melbourne ports. Guess what ship is due in on the 11th of November?
A new princess ship?
Not a new one, it's the Grand.
Really?
It's
I didn't
booked
think it
in.
was coming back.
Yep, no, it's booked
They didn't. When I looked at their fleet deployment, it didn't have the Grand Princess at all.
in.
They were bringing completely different ships down. Gone is Majestic.
Yep.
All of them. The Coal Princess is gone. All of them. They'll bring in different ones. In. So they'll bring in the Royal. Apparently, the new Sun is supposed to be here in Australia as well.
So
The new Sun Princess, which they're currently building.
according to Melbourne
This is
ports,
from Princess themselves.
no, this is Melbourne ports. Melbourne ports have got Grand Princess booked in for the 11th of November, and
Wow.
then the 15th of November. Now, if
I'm
I
very
go and
shocked
look
with
at
that.
Sydney,
That's not what I saw from Princess. Princess, their own ship, their own thing that they were saying.
hey,
The ships are bringing down totally different.
hey, I might be wrong, but this is what I'm looking at the schedule, the cruise port
Okay.
schedules.
Yeah.
And in Sydney, so Melbourne doesn't have a ship coming in until November. Out of Sydney right now, what came in today and went out was the Eclipse. The Carnival Splendor comes in and goes out on the 20th. On the 21st, we've got.
I think there's only two or three ships are doing the winter season. That's it. One's a
Yeah,
Carnival, two a Princess. Oh no, to the
Celebrity.
P&O.
There's a Carnival, there's a Celebrity, the Celebrity Eclipse. So we've got the Splendor, we've got Pacific, and then the Coral Princess comes in and goes out on the 30th of April. And that's just for April. Then we go into May,
Yeah.
there's the P&O
Yeah.
and the Splendor, the Carnival Splendor. That's what I'm looking at on the Sydney,
Yeah.
cruise. Have you by any chance got anything going in or out of Adelaide?
No, our cruise season is from October to April. Um, uh, this cruise season we actually better than previous cruise seasons. Post-pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-pandemic, we only had around about 80 ships. This time around, we had about 110 ships
Wow.
come to Adelaide, which was a huge boost. Not only to local tourism, but to our state, and it certainly did raise a lot of how can I put it to you? A lot of people I know who were doing cruises with different cruise lines like Azamari or the Seabourn and stuff like that. When they were stopped in Adelaide, they actually they felt like Adelaide was put on the map specifically for them. So that was kind of good to hear, people from overseas say when they came to Adelaide, they were like, wow, this is really good. This is what we've been looking for. Particularly one, I don't know if you've seen them, it's Paul and Carol.
Yeah, Paul and Carol.
They're a British
They were on
couple.
Yeah, on the
Yep.
Azamara.
As
Very
Murray, and
quickly,
they came to Adelaide.
cruising is fun anytime. Welcome aboard, guys. Nice to see you here. I know that it is really early in the morning for you guys, but thank you for popping in. We really appreciate that.
Yes, we do.
Um,
Yeah, they came on a 40-degree day, and they were roasting. They didn't know how to
40
cope with,
degrees.
yeah, 40 degrees. And I said, yeah, sorry, I left the oven on. I forgot to turn it off the day before.
They didn't like the Azamara. They weren't
No,
happy
they
with that
didn't.
ship,
I was quite surprised.
especially
No,
the guest services.
yeah, yeah. It just goes to show, if guest services, it can make or break your experience on a ship,
Absolutely,
and
absolutely.
along with people. Um, what we found with ours, we and again, I think I put this down to an Australian experience versus international, because the people that I talk to internationally, they don't get this experience at all. They don't get this service,
Yep.
which they were quite surprised that we were having this experience. What we found were a lot of the people who were of higher rank in status quite rubbed it in your face or demanded that you do things because they're of a certain level, or like elite or whatever. I mean, every cruise line has it. They have their loyalty status and this and that. But Princess seemed to shove it in your face.
Yep.
I'm elite. I'm doing this. I deserve this. And we were like, you know what? You're just a cruiser like me. We paid the same amount of money. You're no different to me.
Yep.
And that's what we found. We found that quite rude. We actually got into a little bit of a barney with a woman who demanded. We're at Explorers Lounge. Demanded that we give up our seats for her and her friend, so that they can sit and watch her. And she called security on me. All right, and security waved her off. They're like, no, no, no. And I actually got security to come over and explain the situation to them, and they said, don't worry, she was drunk. So that says a lot of things. Like, that was disgusting behaviour.
Were they
I've
Aussies?
never on all the, yeah, they were Aussies.
So what I
They were
find,
Aussies.
and I don't know if you agree with me, but the Aussies that are elite tend to be entitled. I'm an
Yes.
elite. I can do this, and those are the
Yep.
ones that I love to put down a notch or three.
Oh well, I think a lot of them got peeved off with us.
Yep.
Um, or well, some of them got peeved off with me because I was wearing Royal Caribbean t-shirts, and I had my QE2 cap, which they were like, "Oh, is QE2 better than Princess?" Yes, it is. Um, or my Seaborn hat, and they were like, this one person, I was walking, I had a Royal Caribbean golfers t-shirt.
Yep.
It's actually quite nice. I actually quite like it. It's really good. And he saw it, and he was like this. You're not allowed to wear that. And I'm like, piss off.
What do you mean I'm not allowed to wear it?
I'm not allowed to wear it because it's Royal Caribbean on the Princess ship. Big deal. There were people there wearing Carnival. There was one person wearing a Carnival. What ship was it? It was one of their new ships. Oh, I can't remember the ship's name, but I saw it and I was like, "Hey, good on you, mate. You've been on that ship. Yeah, nice. Good on you."
Arthur,
That's
you
what you
just got
say. You're not allowed to wear that.
you just got a new sub to your channel. Cruising is fun anytime. Watched a video and subbed.
Thanks. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate that.
You should check out Cruising is fun anytime, Arthur. Don't do it right now. You're in the middle of a chat.
I think that name sounds familiar, and I might be subscribed, but there's so many I've subscribed to. It's not funny.
Yep.
I've got a list
Look,
of things I have to watch and get through.
I know the feeling. You know, I reckon sleep is for customers. I'm too busy with YouTube.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. You know.
Hey,
But,
Arthur, go on.
go on, mate. No, you go on.
I'm saying we've just gone over the hour, um, and
Mm-hmm.
I was looking to shut this down, and we can have a chat afterwards. Um, but I wanted to take the opportunity of thanking you for coming on board. I know we've had
Oh, thanks for having me, man.
no, it's a pleasure. We haven't done this for very long, and um,
Yeah.
you know, you and I, when we meet up, it's infrequent. I enjoy the time that we sit down, we have a beer or a coffee or whatever together. Um, but
Oh,
to
I've
do this,
missed having coffees on the ship. That's what I've missed, having those great coffees. On the
shut up.
ships, they don't know how to do their coffees.
Hmm.
But on land, they know how to do their coffees. You know?
We were actually
That
quite
was like,
surprised because I believe Princess has got a new deal they're doing with Lavazza, so they're going to be using Lavazza
oh, okay.
from now on.
Nice. Good.
G'day, Bentleigh. Welcome aboard. We were pretty close to shutting down, but we'll just waffle on for a little bit for a while. But welcome
Yep.
aboard. Yeah, so they're
I wouldn't.
changing the.
I was
Go
just going
ahead.
to say, if anyone goes into Auckland, my tip is, if there's another cruise ship in, don't do Sky Tower. It the day we went, we had when we were going to New Zealand, we had the Viking Orion was following us,
Yep.
in the same ports as we were, and in Auckland. Sky Tower was rammed. It was rammed with people. It wasn't. It was like Christmas shopping. It was ridiculous. After about 20 minutes, I left. Like, I couldn't handle it. There was so many people there. You couldn't even see anything because it was just a wall of people. Like, if I'd known that, I would have done something different. If I was in Auckland, that's my tip. And look you up in Melbourne when you get into Melbourne.
Yeah, check us out. Check us out. And when we get to Adelaide, go and check out Arthur because for those that don't know, Arthur is a brilliant photographer. I just love some of his stuff. If I look, the closest thing I could do to actually get a photo from Arthur was take him around town. His photos are so expensive.
I'm not expensive. I'm not that expensive.
Mate, you don't come cheap. With that in mind, folks.
I don't know how to answer that one. I really don't.
With that in mind, folks, I'm going to wish you all a fantastic week. We're back up.
Thanks
on
everyone for joining in on us. Greatly
we
appreciate
we
it.
were not going to be doing a show on Friday night, but circumstances have changed. So this Friday night we will be, as per usual, 10 p.m. and that makes that midday for us because we're out of daylight saving now. So that's midday for us on Saturday. So folks, have a great week, a safe week, and we will catch up with you later. Thanks a lot, Arthur.
Thank you for having me.
Catch you later.
Bye.
Press that button.